Okay, so moving forward, let's now look at parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay, so let's just keep moving with the equation from the last video. So last video we were looking at y equals negative 1/3 x plus or minus 7/3. Okay, so let's talk about what it means to find a line parallel or perpendicular to this. So a parallel line will have the exact same slope, and a perpendicular line will have a slope that's the negative or opposite, whichever you would like to use, opposite reciprocal. Okay, so again, parallel lines never intersect, so they have the same slope, so that makes sense. And perpendicular lines meet at a right angle. So again, if the slope of one line is, let's say, 1/2, then the slope of its perpendicular would be opposite, meaning change the sign, so negative, and then flip it, so -2. So if you're given a line, like we are here, and you'll be asked to either find a line parallel or perpendicular to it. So if you're looking for the parallel line, remember you need two things. You need a point on the line that you're writing the equation for and the slope. So since we're finding a parallel line, we're going to use the same slope, which is negative 1/3, and then you'll be given a point. So the directions will say, find a parallel line, find the equation of a parallel line to the given equation, and it will tell you, through the point, let's say 1, 3. So again, we're going to use the same slope and the given point. So again, we can use either method. We can just go ahead and use y equals mx plus b. So we'll plug in the y from the given point, the slope, negative 1/3, because we're finding a line parallel to this one, the given x value, which is 1, excuse me, plus b. So this will help me find b, and then I'll have my equation. So 3 is equal to negative 1/3 plus b, and b is equal to 3 plus 1/3. So remember, 3 plus 1/3 is a mixed number, 3 1/3. So the easiest way to do the arithmetic there is just to multiply. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so 10/3 for b. So my equation of my parallel line is y equals, again, that negative 1/3 slope, because it has to be exactly the same, and then the y-intercept that I just found, which was 10/3. So there's my parallel line. Now, if I'm looking for a perpendicular, so again, if the directions say find a perpendicular to, again, the same given line, but it will give you a point. So let's just use the same point. We can do it the same way, except we're going to use the slope, since it's perpendicular, the negative reciprocal to the given slope. So since the given slope is negative 1/3, we're going to change the sign so it'll be positive and flip it so it'll be a positive 3. And then go through that same process. So y equals mx plus b. So using the given point, 3 is equal to 3 times 1 plus b. So 3 is equal to 3 plus b. So b is equal to 3 minus 3 is 0. Sometimes that seems weird, but it's perfectly fine. So now when I go to plug back in, I have y equals my perpendicular slope, which is 3x, and then b is 0. So plus 0, or you don't need to write it at all. So here is our perpendicular line, again, to the given line, y equals negative 1/3 x minus 7/3. So probably the trickiest question sometimes you see with parallel and perpendicular lines is when the equation is not given in y equals mx plus b form. So this one is the trickier one. So if you're given something like, okay, the given line is 3x plus 2y equals 1. And let's say you're going to be asked to find a perpendicular line through the point, well, we could say anything. Let's say 2, -1. Okay, so here's our example. So the first thing we need to do is identify the slope that you're going to use. So since the given line is 3x plus 2y equals 1, the number in front of the y is only the slope if the equation is solved for y, if it's in y equals mx plus b form. So we need to rewrite the given line in y equals mx plus b form. And then we can determine the slope. Okay, so if the given line is 3x plus 2y equals 1, then we have 2y equals negative 3x plus 1, some dividing through by 2, so we have negative 3/2x plus 1/2. Okay, so the given slope is negative 3/2. I'm going to use, because I'm looking for a perpendicular, m is equal to opposite, so positive, in reciprocal, so flip. So this is the slope that I'm going to use. So we'll use that slope and the given point, which again is 2, -1. All right, so here's my y equals mx plus b. So y is -1. M, I'm using 2/3 times x is 2, and then b is what I'm looking for. So -1 equals 2 times 2 is 4/3 plus b, and then b is equal to, so -1 plus 4/3. So I can think of -1 as negative 3/3, that's the same as 1, plus 4/3. So -3 plus 4 is 1, so 1/3 for my b. So my final answer, my perpendicular line, is y equals the slope 2/3 x, y-intercept is plus 1/3. So here is my line that's perpendicular to the given line 3x plus 2y equals 1. Now if you were going to then find a parallel line, again we would go through that exact same process, but here when we're deciding the slope that we're going to use, if it's parallel, we would have used the same slope as the slope of the given line.